Hi, I'm Adam Waxler, broker and owner of 𝐜𝐥𝐸 Real Estate. Today I'd like to talk to you about some of the headlines that we're seeing right now that may be factually correct, but are also very misleading in many ways. The problem is, today's headlines are really designed more to terrify than to clarify. Today's headlines emphasize fear rather than facts. So I'm going to start with this stat right here from a recent survey from NerdWallet, and it says 67% of Americans say a housing market crash is imminent in the next 3 years. 67%. By the way, I've been hearing about this imminent crash now for over 2 years, and it still hasn't come. So why is it that 2 out of 3 people think that the housing market crash is coming? Well, it's because of headlines like these. Take a look at these recent headlines about foreclosure data. U.S. foreclosure filings surged 115% in 2022. U.S. foreclosure activity doubles annually. And then foreclosure filings rose 115% in the past year. Now here's the thing. These are all factually true. However, they don't tell the whole story. But they do get people to click on the articles because these headlines are alarming. And quite frankly, if you don't dig deeper into the data, which let's face it, most people don't, these headlines will make you think the market is about to crash. So what I want to do is take the recent foreclosure data that these headlines are pointing to and break it down to make sure you understand what these headlines truly mean. So take a look here. This is a quote from Adam, a very trusted source that we follow. It says, Adam, a leading curator of real estate data nationwide for land and property data today, released its year-end 2022 foreclosure market report, which shows foreclosure filings, default notices, scheduled auctions, and bank repossessions were reported on 324,237 U.S. properties in 2022. That's up 115% from 2021. So let's stop there. That's what those headlines show you. That's what you see in those headlines. What you don't see is the second part of this. But down 34% from 2019 before the pandemic shook up the market. Foreclosure filings in 2022 were also down 89% from a peak of nearly 2.9 million in 2010. So what you can see is that a lot of the media headlines, they go right to the statistics that grab your attention. Up 115%, foreclosures double annually. But there's so much more to the story, and that's what I want to talk about. And I think this next graph really shows this visually. Okay, let's take a look. Here's a look at foreclosure activity. It says it doubles annually, but still below pre-pandemic levels. So this is a look at U.S. properties with foreclosure filings, and it's going all the way back to 2005. And what you see in the dark red bars is those were the years where we had over 1 million foreclosure filings per year in this country. Now, if you look at the data all the way on the right-hand side, you can see how much foreclosures have increased over the past year. It's up from 151,000 foreclosures in 2021 to 324,000 foreclosures in 2022. That's where the 115% in those headlines comes from. However, we went from a record low number of foreclosures in 2020 and 2021. That's why there's a 115% increase. And yes, foreclosures more than doubled. There's no denying that. But saying that is completely taking the data out of context. If you look closer, you'll see that the 324,000 foreclosures is nowhere near the millions and millions that were recorded when the housing market crashed last time in this country. In fact, if we zoom in on the right side here, we can see that we're still well below the pre-pandemic years of 2017 to 2019. The 3 years prior to the pandemic, the U.S. averaged just under 600,000 foreclosures per year. And as you can see on the right, we're still well below that today. The fact is, we are in a very different period of time, a very different landscape from what's happening in the housing market than last time. That's why it's so important to have the context as you look at the headlines to truly understand what they mean. Because in 2010, there were 2.9 million foreclosure filings. Since then, we've had much more qualified buyers with much better credit history. They actually have income qualification, and these things were not in play last time, and that's what caused the market to crash. So when you think about why people are concerned, why 2 out of 3 people think that the housing market is going to crash, this is why. They look back in time and they remember what happened when the market crashed last time. And now they see these headlines talking about foreclosures rising and they think, uh-oh, here we go again. But the reality is the data tells a very different story. And I think this final quote here from Bill McBride, founder of Calculated Risk, says it very well. By the way, Bill McBride really saw the writing on the wall when the market crashed in 2008, 2009. But here's what he's saying about today's market. This is a quote just from a month ago, mid-January. It says, "The bottom line is there will be an increase in foreclosures over the next year from record low levels, but there will not be a huge wave of distressed sales as happened following the housing bubble. The distressed sales during the housing bust led to cascading price declines, and that will not happen this time." So it's really, really important to have context to understand why this time is different, why this market is so much different than last time, and why we are not headed for a crash. The fact is, the data just doesn't support that. Okay, I'm Adam Waxler, real estate broker and owner of 𝐜𝐥𝐸 Real Estate. I hope you found this video informative, and if you're looking for an agent in Sarasota or Manatee County, Florida, an agent that will put facts before fear, an agent that will help clarify rather than terrify, then give us a call at 941-465-9206, and myself or one of my knowledgeable agents will help you with your next real estate transaction. You can also find us online at www.𝐿_KEEPCommission.com. Hope you have a great rest of your day.